Guys, this is from the NRA Institute for Legislative Action. Justice Scalia made it clear that the Second Amendment in Heller, the case of Heller, prohibits assault weapons ban. You cannot ban assault weapons. I'm going to zoom in on the date so you know what date it is. July 13th, 2018. I'll go through this. I'm going to leave a link down here, and if you read this thing, make sure you read it slow so that you don't get twisted, because the Democrats try to twist the interpretation of the Constitution over and over and over to fit their agenda. Now here you've got this, on July 9th, Senator Chris Murphy, a Democrat from Connecticut, offered the following ham-handed statement in an attack on President Donald Trump's United States Supreme Court nominee, D.C. Circuit Judge Brett Kavanaugh. And it also has here about related articles down here. That Brett Kavanaugh is a true Second Amendment radical. He believes assault weapon bans are unconstitutional, a position way out of the judicial mainstream, far to the right of even late Justice Scalia. Now that's Chris Murphy, the Democrats' attack on this guy. Now the Democrats always have their little followers they follow around. And Murphy's not the only one to give false impressions of the Supreme Court. But Anthony Scalia, who authored a majority opinion in the landmark 2008 District of Columbia versus Heller case, recognized that the Second Amendment protects an individual's right to keep and bear arms. Did not consider bans on commonly owned semi-automatic firearms, termed assault weapons, by gun advocates to be unconstitutional, which means you can have any commonly used firearm, just like the Second Amendment guarantees you. And then you got this nitwit down here. I'm going to zoom in on this guy's name a little bit. Representative Ted, looks like Dutch, Democrat of Florida. He tweeted, even Justice Scalia knew the Second Amendment has limits. Whoa. No, there are no limits, people. It doesn't guarantee access to every weapon, but then assault weapons can be banned. And bemoaning Kavanaugh's 2011 dissent of Heller 2, where he concluded that the D.C. semi-automatic ban is unconstitutional. And that's true, it is. Brady campaign co-president Avery Gardner contends that Kavanaugh's view is inconsistent with Scalia's Heller opinion. No. He just took it as far as where it was supposed to go. You've got to watch how these people manipulate things. I mean, they're not there. They're supposed to be out there protecting the Second Amendment, or I should say they're out there. They took an oath to protect the Constitution, and they're not doing it. Okay. Taken alone, Justice Scalia's Heller opinion is enough to dispel the deception of the Democrats. In it, Justice Scalia made clear that the types of firearms protected by the Second Amendment include those in common use at the time. I'm going to zoom in on that, people. Just common use at the time. Keep that in your head. Don't let these people, try to make a law out of thin air. Okay, common use for the time, lawful purposes for like defense. The AR-15 which is a favorite target of so-called assault weapon ban legislation, is the most popular rifle in America and therefore undoubtedly in common use and protected by the Second Amendment. Gun control advocates seem to agree that such semi-automatic rifles are common, considered that they routinely complain about the proliferation of these firearms. Further, in the case of Staples versus the United States, 1994, the Supreme Court determined that semi-automatic rifles were common. They are commonplace and generally available, and that's how it works, people. Now, if you look here too, there's down here at Freeman versus Highland Park. That was another one. Another one was McDonald versus Chicago. Even this, Justice Thomas laminated that despite the Supreme Court's holding in Heller and McDonald versus Chicago, they have upheld the Court of Appeals, have upheld categorically bans on firearms that millions of Americans commonly own for lawful purpose, which was made clear is in non-compliance with our Second Amendment precedents. They cannot take it away. There are roughly 5 million Americans own AR-style semi-automatic rifles. The overwhelming majority of citizens who own and use such rifles do so for lawful purpose, including self-defense and target shooting. Under our precedents, that is all is needed for a citizen to have the right under the Second Amendment to keep such weapons. I'm going to put the link for this. Like I said, when you read this thing, people, read it slow. Don't get messed up by this Chris Murphy and this, what's his name, Ted Dutch from Florida. Watch how these people word their sentences, because if they were real Americans and if they were set to uphold their oath of office, they would be protecting your rights. But these people are not. They are anti-Constitution, anti-American, and anti-gun, and they need to be kicked out of office permanently. And anybody that thinks along those lines, tar and feather them. Okay, guys, thanks for watching.